So whether you're a beginner woodworker or you've been doing this for quite a while, there's a ton of mistakes you're gonna make. Well, in today's video, I'm gonna address the 5 common mistakes that beginner woodworkers make that kill their ambition, crush their potential, and hurt their pocketbook. Mistake number 1. You're watching way too much YouTube. All of us, I mean, including myself, I watch a ton of YouTube. And if you're watching this video, you're probably watching me on YouTube. Well, the issue with that is whenever you watch all these creators on YouTube, they have their woodpecker tools and their fest tool and all these cool gadgets and gizmos and stuff like that. Well, what happens is you get sucked into this whole nest of woodworking marketing where beginners think they have to go big or go home because woodpecker squares have these little tick marks on them and fest tool domino joiner is like the most amazing thing ever. But what you should really do besides going big or going home is just go to Harbor Freight, get all your tools there. Go to Craigslist, find some shop going out of business and buy some of their tools. See some guy moving out and his wife's making him sell his tools in his garage. Like, buy tools like that. Do not get absorbed into all this woodworking marketing. Now, luckily, when I was starting off in woodworking, I had the privilege of being really broke, and so I couldn't afford any of the fancy stuff, so I had to start small. But I've seen a ton of other people, and I have friends that I know that went in big and they spent $1,200 on a Festool domino joiner, and they didn't even know how to do a dowel rod joint with a simple, 10-cent dowel rod you can pick up from Home Depot, right? They dropped too much money and it killed their ambition because they're like, oh my gosh, I just spent $5,000 on all these tools and I gotta figure out a way to make up that cost. And meanwhile, I'm over here with $100 of tools because that's all I could afford. So it really helped me progress as a woodworker and allowed me to enjoy making my projects a lot more because I didn't have the stress of all this stuff that I just bought and sank money into. Mistake number 2 is that you're spending way too much on wood. So when you're a beginner, you see all these really cool woods like lace wood, zebra wood, jatoba, bird's eye maple, really nice walnut. I would warn you to stay away from that and just go cheap. Go buy you some cheap plywood. Go get you some 1x4s, some 2x4s. Stick with cheap wood because when you buy that expensive wood and start off like that, you're probably gonna mess it up because you don't know what you're doing yet. And so when you get that nice stuff and you mess it up, you feel about this big and you want to flip over the Monopoly board. Like when you're playing Monopoly, you want to flip over the table and be like, screw it, I quit. You don't have to do that, right? Get a 2x4, and if you screw up a 2x4, like it's just a 2x4. Another thing that I would really suggest when you're first getting into it and you're gonna be making a whole bunch of stuff and you're gonna be getting a lot of requests to make like rustic stuff. And what I call rustic stuff is that you don't have to be perfect. And so I would suggest making rustic stuff when you're starting off. So what I did is I drove around town, and when somebody took down one of their private fences, you had all this old barn wood. And if I wasted them or messed up, it was free material. And then as I got better, then I could start spending a little bit more money on walnut and on some nicer material, some bird's eye maple. But it wasn't until I got good with the 1x4s and the 2x4s that I then moved on to the more expensive wood. Because if I would have started off with that and I tried it a couple times and I failed, I hated myself for it. Versus when I messed up something like that, it was so easy. I just threw it away and I started over, and that was okay. So that really helped me along my woodworking journey and really saved my pocketbook and just really saved my ambition. Mistake number 3, you're way too afraid to post your work. This is something that I see in any level of woodworking, that people are too afraid to post their work because somebody's gonna judge them, and you're gonna have that person leave it in the comment section that you should have did this way. My advice is post it. Post it as much as you can because nobody knows what you do until you tell them. And this is a mistake that I made early on, that I didn't really take pictures of anything, and I was making really, really nice stuff and I just didn't take pictures of it. And so I'd go brag to somebody and tell them how good I am, and they're like, well, I can't find you anywhere. And then once I started posting stuff, whether it was good or bad or ugly, they started knowing me as the woodworker. You may be looking at me like, Ryan, I don't want to do it as a business. I just want to make something nice. Well, like, that's okay. Post about it. Other woodworkers are going to start commenting on it and say, man, you did such a good job, or what, have you ever thought of using this type of wood for this kind of scenario, or what kind of joinery did you use? Do not be afraid to post it, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on a random forum, whether it's on Instagram. Even if you think it sucks, there's going to be somebody out there that's jealous of your work. And even if there isn't, you will get to see the progression of how you've evolved as a woodworker, because woodworking mastery is not necessarily a destination. It is a journey, and you're constantly always going to be struggling along that journey because that's the journey of woodworking, and it's beautiful. Mistake number 4, being a little too over. Wait a minute. Do you hear that? You know what that means? It's giveaway time! So if you're new to this channel, how giveaways work is that every single Sunday we do a giveaway, but you only have 24 hours to enter, and the link is always in the description. Now throughout the video, I'll give a secret code, and if you enter that secret code whenever you sign up for the giveaway, it gets you extra entries. So now let's get into point number 4. Mistake number 4 is being way too ambitious. What do I mean by being way too ambitious? And Jeremy's right behind the camera right now just laughing because I am Mr. Overambitious. I mean, we even did a video where I built benches against my dad and I told Jeremy it was only gonna take me like 12 hours to build it. It ended up taking me like 40, 50 hours. My dad was done with his like 2 days before mine. So I'm speaking to this because this point I can relate to on so many levels. You have absolutely no idea. And a good rule of thumb on most woodworking projects is that it's gonna cost you twice as much and take you 3 times as long. So if you're a beginner and you're just starting off, don't take these overambitious projects. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get frustrated halfway through, you're gonna sink money into it, and you may never finish that. And then you're not learning like the back half of skills that a woodworker needs to know of, like how to properly sand, how to properly finish, how to properly restore stuff. You end up only learning that first beginning part, and then you end up quitting overall because you never finished a project and you have nothing to look at and be happy about. Just start small. Make something small at the beginner level. It's okay. Nobody's gonna laugh at you. You're gonna post it, right? You're gonna be proud of it. Then make something at the intermediate level that you can handle, that you understand how a saw blade works, you understand when the teeth get dull, when sandpaper gets dull, how to put on a very easy finish. And then you can move on to the stuff that you watch your content creators make, your YouTubers make. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that they don't show you, I promise you. Then you can move on to there and do these complicated things. And if you don't finish it, it's okay because you've already built these other projects that you can be proud of. And if that thing sits a while, you at least know that you are a woodworker and you can make things. Mistake number 5, and to me this is one of the most important mistakes to try to avoid, and I see it happen time and time again. And that mistake is not knowing what your end goal is. In woodworking, typically you have 2 camps. You have the guys that absolutely love it and enjoy it as a hobby, and you have the guys that get into woodworking because they think they can make money from it. Now, the beautiful thing about woodworking is that you can make money, or you can just do it because you love it. It's really hard to do both because your hobby becomes your job, and then you want to think that you never work a day in your life. But in reality, that the mindsets are different. Now, since I started woodworking at 16 years old, my end goal was to always make money woodworking. But what that means is everything that I've done since I've started, once I built that deck of knowledge, that first deck of beginner knowledge about sandpaper and blades and all that good stuff, everything that I've done since then is learning the business aspect of how to grow a woodworking business, from the products I design to how I reach customers to how I price stuff. And that is a different set of skills versus somebody else that started it just as a passion and they love making this articulate, awesome, amazing, artsy fartsy stuff. So what happens is the guy that is super skilled at woodworking starts looking at the guy that got into it for money, and they start getting jealous of him because he's making products and making money from woodworking, and all he has is this really cool box. And on the flip side, I'm over here looking at the guy that's super skilled and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wish I was that good. There's no way I'll ever be that good. But I gotta remember, the reason I got into woodworking was to make money. That is the path I am on. So whenever you're starting, you don't have to figure this out, right? You still have that deck of knowledge you have to build up. But once you get to that point where those 2 paths cross and you have the decision to make of like, you know what, I'm gonna make money doing this, or I'm just gonna keep diving deeper because I absolutely love woodworking and I never care if I make a dime a day in my life. And just know that why this matters is it's not anything but skill, it's not anything with money, it's your mental space. And so looking over at the guy that's really skilled and getting jealous of him, and the skilled guy getting jealous of the guy making money, it comes into a lot of problems, and you end up giving up woodworking, you sell your shop because you wasn't making any money, and then you're miserable because you realize how much you enjoyed it. I've seen this. Or you're making money with it and then you lose all the joy and you're like, I don't know why I even do this anymore. It's not about the money. Well, like maybe you should have just did it for joy and not try to start a business with it. That's okay. Now, at the end of the day, whether you're doing it for money or whether you're doing it for passion, just always know to find joy in the journey of woodworking because it is such a beautiful journey. Now, before we get to the outro, y'all been waiting around for that secret code. The secret code is SHIRT. Enter that when you enter the giveaway. Link is in the description. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to check out CSE Workshop. And remember, guys, if you ain't cutting it close, you ain't cutting it right. And luckily, I didn't have the chance to make this mistake growing up.
That chicken is like right there.